Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You know how much we love getting into the nitty-gritty of these big ideas, and today is no exception.
Oh, yeah. This one is a fascinating one for sure. It's all about this tension between kind of knowing the world can be a messy place, with unfairness and all that, but also feeling like truth and honesty still really matter.
Exactly. And to really dissect this, we're going to be looking at a book called The Nature of Hypocrisy: Survival, Truth, and Human Ideals. It really lays out some thought-provoking stuff, so ready to jump in.
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
All right, so the book kicks things off by asking us to consider something pretty interesting: hypocrisy in nature. What do you think it means by that?
Well, the author argues that if we think about it, there's not really this concept of morality in the animal world, right? It's
Yeah.
all about instinct, about doing what you need to survive.
So like a lion hunting a zebra, we don't judge the lion as good or bad.
Precisely. It's just nature unfolding as it does. But then the book takes this really interesting turn and asks, okay, so if that's the case in nature, are we humans actually all that different? I mean, we place so much importance on truth and justice and fairness.
But are we maybe fooling ourselves a bit?
That's exactly what the book suggests. Maybe these ideals we hold so dear are actually just a very thin layer covering up our own basic instincts. Like we're trying to make ourselves feel better about those primal drives, dress them up with fancy principles.
Okay, I see where this is going. So are you saying deep down we're all just hypocrites scrambling to survive? Because honestly, I think we can all relate to being bothered by hypocrisy, like when someone lies to us or when something just feels deeply unfair.
Absolutely. And it's a really important point. If we're all just playing the same game as animals, why should any of that even matter to us? Why would we get so riled up about it?
That's a great question.
And thankfully, the book offers an answer to that. It actually points to that very reaction, our strong reaction to lies and injustice, as evidence that there is something unique about humans, our capacity for empathy, that desire for things to be fair and right. That seems to point to something that goes beyond just surviving.
So we care about fairness, even though nature, doesn't.
Seems that way.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is where it gets really interesting to me. The book presents this sort of paradox, right? On one hand, we see people acting selfishly and dishonestly all the time, power struggles and just messed up systems. But then on the other hand, we still have this really deep longing for something better, this desire for a world where truth and meaning win out. So how do we reconcile those two things?
Well, that's where the book offers what it calls a trick. And I love this idea. It's about accepting the reality that people are imperfect, accepting that power dynamics exist, that sometimes people will lie or cheat, and systems will be flawed. But it's also about holding on to your own ideals.
So it's not about being naive. It's about making a conscious choice, even when it seems like everyone else is playing by a totally different set of rules.
Yes, exactly. And that choice, the book argues, is where our true freedom lies. Because in a world that often feels chaotic and maybe even hopeless at times, choosing to live by your values, choosing to be truthful, even when it's difficult or maybe even puts you at a disadvantage, that is a seriously powerful act. It's almost like an act of rebellion, I think.
Yeah, I love that. So I guess to kind of sum up what we've explored today in our little deep dive, it seems like hypocrisy might just be part of being human. It's kind of baked in.
It does seem that way, yeah.
But what sets us apart, what elevates us, is our ability to strive for better, to fight for truth and fairness, even when we know the world doesn't always play fair. It's a challenge for sure, but it seems like it's a really important one.
It really does. And that actually leaves us with a really thought-provoking question, one that the book kind of hints at but doesn't fully answer. If this choice, how we respond to hypocrisy, is our freedom, then what does that tell us about our responsibility? Our responsibility to stand up for what we believe in, to speak truth to power, even when it's uncomfortable.
Oh, that's a great point to end on. That's something we can all kind of sit with, figure out what it means for each of us.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive today.
It's been a pleasure.
And thank you all for listening. We'll see you next time for another deep dive. See you.